Here's a story, interesting story, about the Tzemach Tzedik, third Rebbe of Chabad. Once there was a Jew, a simple Jew, and the the baron who owned the lands where this Jew lived was threatening to throw him off the land. And the reason was simple, because he didn't pay his bills. He owned a little inn or a tavern or something, and that's how he would make his meager living, and he would pay his rent to the baron, the landowner. But times were hard, and the weather was bad, and people didn't frequent his place, so he got into debt, and he was being threatened that he was going to get thrown off. It wouldn't be so bad for him. That would be a tragedy, but he had a wife, he had children. What are they going to do? So he went to the Tzemach Tzedik. Tzemach Tzedik was the third Rebbe of Chabad, Menachem Mendel. And he told him the whole story, and he asked for a big blessing. Please, can you save me? And the Rebbe said, no problem. He said, take this letter. The letter says, can you help this man? He's in need of help. Do whatever you can to help him. He puts the letter inside of an envelope and writes on the envelope the person he wants to go to for him to see. Shmuel HaKatan. Shmuel HaKatan. Shmuel HaKatan means Shmuel the small Shmuel. So the man thanked the Rebbe. He didn't see what the Rebbe wrote on the envelope. So he walked out and he's thanking the Rebbe very much. Before he puts the envelope in his pocket, he looks at the name that's written and he says it's Shmuel HaKatan. And he realizes that the Rebbe made a mistake. There were two Shmuels. One was called Shmuel HaKatan and another was called Shmuel HaGadol. Shmuel HaGadol was a very rich person, very well known, and he had a tremendous influence, and he was hobnobbing it with all the Gentiles and was in the government. And if he would see a letter from the Rebbe, the Tzemach Tzedik, certainly he would do what the Tzemach Tzedik wanted. But here it says Shmuel HaKatan. Shmuel HaKatan, he knew who he was. Once in a while, this fellow Shmuel HaKatan would come into the town. He was a simple fellow that lived in a hut, and he would chop wood. His thing was chopping wood. His wife had passed away a while ago, and how much wood could he chop? But he would chop wood, and he lived out there. And he would come in for prayers. Maybe he would come in on Shabbat. He would stay by somebody's house, whatever it was, or he would walk out. And so we said, obviously the Rebbe made a mistake, but there was a long line of people to go back into the Rebbe, and he didn't want to go back to the Rebbe, so he didn't know what to do. He went to his rabbi, and the rabbi said, listen, the Tzemach Tzedik does not make mistakes. The Rebbe does not make mistakes. If he wrote Shmuel HaKatan, that's who you have to go to. So they said, okay, what's he going to do? The envelope doesn't say Shmuel HaGadol, it says Shmuel HaKatan. So we can't go to Shmuel HaGadol and say that the Rebbe told me, because maybe the Rebbe didn't tell him. So what's he got? No choice. So he goes to this Shmuel HaKatan's house. It's a little hut in the middle of who knows where, in the middle of the forest. And he knocks on the door. Shmuel HaKatan opens the door. Yes, can I come in? Come in. It's cold outside. It comes in. He says, listen, the Rebbe gave me this letter. Look at Shmuel HaKatan. That's me. Opens the letter. Help this man however you can. He's in very big troubles, and he needs your help. So he says, I can help. What can I possibly do? I can chop some wood for him if he wants. I can give him, some hot porridge. I don't know anybody. I can't help anybody. How am I supposed to help? Maybe the Rebbe wants me to pray. Maybe I can pray. Maybe for some reason my prayers will work. But I can't understand why. So this fellow says, I also can't understand why. He says, listen, you can stay in my house. You can stay in my hut. I have a little room over here. You can stay over there. Something is going to come out of it, what the Rebbe said. And I said, okay, so he's there for a day, 2 days, 3 days, there for a week. And all of a sudden, there comes this terrible snowstorm outside. Terrible. Luckily, they they had enough food to last them for a couple of days. So they're stuck together. So they learn Torah a little bit and they daven, but they can't even go outside. It's just terrible, winds. And One night, in the middle of the night, they hear knocking on the door. Help! And I'm knocking on the door. Who would knock on the door? They open the door, and comes in this non-Jew, a Gentile, a rich sort of a guy comes in, and he falls in. Whoa! You saved me. Thank you very much. You have to warm up. Yeah, I'm frozen. I'm freezing. I'm freezing to death. Where the storm came from, I don't know. It killed my horse. I'm on my foot. I'm walking. I don't know where to go. I saw you. Thank you very much. And he gives him food, and he. So afterwards, the rich guy says, "Listen, I help you. I here take some money for this." So Shmuel Katan says, "Listen, you want to give me money? I'll give you money, but I don't really need money. I'm living fine over here. I live alone." He says, "Well, can you help me?" He says, "Listen, let me tell you the story about my friend. I got a friend. His name is Zalman, whatever his name is, and he's got this big problem with the Baron and this." So the Baron, I happen to know the Baron. I'm good friends with the Baron. What's the problem? He said, "Well, he got into big debts and he can't pay off." He said, "Well, I can talk to him." He said, "Well, he's here. My friend Zalman, he's in the next room." He comes out and he says, "Yeah, listen, the Baron is a nice person, but, I haven't been able to pay him. And it's understanding." He says, "Listen, you have absolutely nothing to worry about. You have absolutely nothing to worry about. You saved my life. I happen to be good friends with the Baron. Your sin is not such a big sin. You just didn't pay him off. You know what? I'll pay off the debt. And you'll get special treatment from now on." Suddenly he realized that what the Tzemach Tzedik did, he wrote Shmuel Katan, was exactly the right person. If he went to go to Shmuel Gadol, it was a doubt if it would have worked or not. But because he went to Shmuel Katan, it happened exactly that he saved this person's life according to the instructions of the Rebbe. This comes to teach us that what the Rebbe says that we should do. And if the Rebbe said we have to do everything we can to bring Mashiach, even though a person could say, "Who am I? What am I? I'm going to bring Mashiach. All the generations didn't do it, and I'm going to do one more good deed. What's going to help?" And Mashiach is such a massive worldwide change. I'm going to bring it about. But the Rebbe said, "Yes, you will." And so therefore, be like Shmuel Katan, do a little thing, and that little thing could mean a lot. Have a good day with Mashiach. Now, thank you very much for coming.